Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, the Monday night Zoom edition. Bitcoin's been kind of sideways, not that exciting. Let's go to the chart and check it out anyway. All right, you guys should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yep.
Yes.
So what I did was I drew a new range. We were down here from about 35 to 46 before. We broke through 46 last week. Dipped a little bit and came back up. So I just bumped the range up from 48.5 to 37.2. So this, in my humble opinion, is our new trading range. Thought it might be more useful than drawing a bunch of lines. So my thinking is when we get close to the top of the range and we have volume or velocity or momentum to the downside, that could be a good time to short. When we get down here in the low 40s to high 30s, and when we have momentum coming back up, that's a good time to go long. Very, very generally speaking, non-financial advice. Can't really think of any significant news involving Bitcoin or Ethereum. Feel free to chime in if you guys have something to add in that regard. And then we got this kind of mini channel for the last week, you know, from about 45 to 48, trouble punching through 48 and staying above it. So as you can see by these wicks on top. So, all right, not too exciting on Bitcoin. Ethereum has been a little more trending a little bit better. I was going to draw a support line here, but I noticed, at least on the 4-hour chart, that Ethereum is staying above, for the most part, the SMA line. You know, this line, this red line here between my Bollinger Bands, you know, the green lines here. So that's interesting. So I don't trade Ethereum that much. I do have a bag of it, but the next time it bounces, it comes down to the SMA line or pretty close to it, that might be a good time to get in if you want to add to your bag of Ethereum. Okay, any questions on Bitcoin and Ethereum? Or the market in general? All right, let's get started with Altcoin Alert then. Can we find a trade today? I think it was last Monday we were actually making trades, getting 1, 2, 3 dips during the show. That's pretty cool. Let's reload, update this. Okay, so the first sort I do is the AA score. Quick reminder, I'm on the altcoin radar, not the dashboard. I have easy mode off because I want all the information. The AA score is pretty much in and of itself. You can ignore the rest of the information. It's trying to predict the likelihood of a coin bouncing back. So most of the coins on this, towards the top of this list, have been beaten down already. So what we have here is Altcoin Alert thinks IOST has an 84.6% chance to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. So that sounds pretty good to me. That's in line with the dip trading I like to do. So let's take a look at IOST. I just happen to have it handy. I was checking it out earlier. I like to go to the day chart first to get the big picture. And like many coins we've talked about this year, had a big pump in November. Well, this was once in September actually. So in the fall, came down, lost 70, 80%. Had a pump here last day of March, and then dropped again. On the 1 hour, the more recent action, we got above 5 cents. Pretty big dip since then. And that's that last day of the year. Trending up a little bit today. On the 5-minute, is there a trade? And if so, where do we get in? So it's looking kind of squeezy. We've got 3% between the Bollinger Bands, not that great. hanging around the SMA line, one of my least favorite places to get in. Let's make this a little bigger. So if you want to do a price alert, I would suggest down here around 0.0349, where this support seems to be, very short-term support on the 5-minute chart. So that would be one place you could put an alert. Just right click and crossing and, you know, price alert, and you're good to go. But we don't just jump in because it hits a support area. You want to look at the chart again, look at Bitcoin, and make sure we get that good entry. We've also got these indicators here, the MFI, which is the money flow index, the RSI, which is the relative strength index. RSI is one of the more popular ones. MFI, not quite as popular, but still pretty well known. And the MACD, which I sometimes use for confirmation. But I like to place alerts on these two indicators. I also like to use what's called divergence, and I do that on the 15-minute chart. Generally, the longer time frame you use, the more accurate the information is going to be. The downside is it doesn't go off as much. So if you're a day trader like me, you like to make 5 or 10 trades a day, you know, I don't want to go beyond the 30-minute very often in my alerts. All right, so these green boxes are bullish divergence. Red box here is the bearish divergence, and that's just a disagreement between the price action and the indicators. So, for example, here we've got, that's not a good example. Let's see, RSI. Not sure why that one is flagged. Anyway, but there is sometimes a predictive quality to these divergence indicators, though this is not a good example. This one is. So when this one goes off, you know, you get in your trade, well, you go back to your 5-minute chart and look for an entry. But this one does go up, you know, 3%. 3% is a pretty good day trade. Another alert I like to do is the MFI. And what I usually do is just try to catch the MFI as it's going down and coming back up. So if you look at this one here, that didn't quite go below the 20, which is the oversold area. But if you set an alert in here, right click, crossing up on the 20 value, which is again the oversold area, prices tend to come up after this. Go with once per bar close, you know, MFI alert, and you're good to go. You can also do the same thing on the RSI. I actually use RSI alerts a little bit more than the MFI alerts. RSI crossing up 30 once per bar close. RSR. Looks like I called something the RS once. So if you have at least, I think not the free version, but the next one above it in TradingView, you can set up to 10 alerts. So generally you shouldn't be following more than 3 or 4 coins a day anyway. It's really difficult to track that much beyond that. So any questions on IOST?
I have just a general settings question. I guess it's a settings question.
Sure.
How do you get all these tags that you get, these big green and red tags? Is that a setting?
That's an indicator. Good question. Haven't gone over this in a while. So here are your indicators tabs. They're mostly free. Some are created by TradingView, some are contributed by other members, and some are you have to pay for. So if you click in that button and type in divergence, make sure your fingers are on the right keys. Yeah, this is the one I like, divergence for many indicators by Lonesome Somebody, over 11,000 downloads. And I usually put a star by something I download. So I've tinkered with a few of them, but this one I like the most. And I've taken out some of the indicators I wasn't familiar with. So once you add an indicator, it'll list it here on your chart. Make sure you save the setting. And these are the inputs. Yeah, I took out the CCI, has to do with commodities. This one seemed duplicative of the MFI. This one I didn't know, but the other ones I either looked up or were familiar with. So I kept those. And then when one goes off and I'm tracking such a thing, then you know, I check it out. And so that'll work for not only for divergence indicators, but if you want to download the MFI, you know, money flow index, it'll come up, RSI. Oops. You know, this is the updated one provided by TradingView. So MACD is the last one I use. So they're all right there. All you have to do is type it in and click, and your chart is ready.
But those create those big tags that we see
Mm-hmm.
automatically. You didn't have to do anything additional to get those tags.
Correct.
Okay. And then I've got one other question on your general workflow I've never asked in all this time. But so you don't want to track too many coins per day, which makes a lot of sense, and you're setting a lot of alerts up. So do you have to go through and manually delete these every day, or do you have them set up where they just expire? Can they expire after like a day? Or
Now I have a calendar item. My last thing I do of the day is turn off my alerts.
okay.
I used to leave some overnight and wake up in the morning and trade it, you know, wake up at 2:30 in the morning and do an RSI alert trade on my phone. And I had some good results and some bad. So I decided not to do that anymore. But I've talked about it many times. For those of us in the US, the best times to trade, you know, follow the mostly the Asian work hours. So for me in the Pacific time, I trade from about, if I could get up at 6, I would, but for me, it's closer to 7 to 9. And then again, frequently in this time frame from about 3 to 7 p.m. So that's when I do a lot of my trading. And in the middle of the day, it's kind of slower and I do, you know, other things related to my business. But yeah, those are the best times to trade a lot. And that's when most of the action is. But the alerts can go off. I mean, I do leave them on throughout the day, so they can go off at, you know, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And if I like what I see, I'll go ahead and take a trade then.
So you basically, I'm sorry, Craig, just to finish that point. So you think by the next day that those alerts are stale, pretty much. So you just get rid of them, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to look at sources like Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro to determine the best coins to trade for the way I like to trade that day. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's the same coin for a few days. I mean, that's pretty common actually. So and then it runs out and then I move on. So
got it. Thank you.
All right. And Craig, go ahead.
Yeah, answering Robert's question on the alerts, one thing you can do is just make it active for a day. So you can let it expire after a day or 2 days in the date setting on the alert. So that's one option. Or the other option is just, you know, let it activate once. And then once it's activated, it's finished.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah, the calendar thing sounds like a good, because you'd have to uncheck open-ended.
Yeah, you know, I've got the Premier plan, so all mine are open-ended, you know, in case I do want to leave them on.
Yeah.
So most of you guys are going to see something like this, and then you can, like Robert said, and like Craig said, you can set a time.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Yeah, I'm on the open-ended setting now, but
yeah,
that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll trade till, you know, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I have a family obligation. I'll turn them all off then because I don't want to be interrupted. I hear it from my family when my alerts go off during dinner. So You trading that Chinese money again? It's like my dad calls Bitcoin's Chinese money. Doesn't make any sense, but anyway. Okay, so any questions on TradingView or what we were talking about with the settings and the alerts? Yeah, I have done, I think 2 videos on my TradingView settings. I think they're 10 or 15 minutes long. You might want to check those out if you're new to TradingView and you want to learn more about the setup. I went through it kind of fast just so I can try to keep this Zoom down to about 40 minutes. But yeah, if you're new to TradingView, I think that's worth watching and watch other people's videos too. There's a lot of TradingView information on YouTube. All right, let's look at another altcoin alert possibility. We looked at IOST. I'm usually looking for, on the AA scores, very bullish. So above 80, preferably above 85. We've only got one, and we just looked at it. The other sort I like to do is this long-term sentiment. I click on this and it shows me like very bullish and bullish. And the long-term sentiment, if you hover over this question mark, it'll describe what that column is. And it's comparing the Twitter information from the last 24 hours to last 20 days, what I think of as a word on the street. So if that's very bullish or bullish, and then we have the Elder Impulse Daily right next to it, and that's the technical information. That's like some of the things we just talked about. It's a trend-based, a momentum-based trading strategy. Bryce talks a lot about it in his Zooms. So when I see the long-term, the word on the street line up with the technicals, that's interesting to me. That's something I want to check out. So, and since I trade almost entirely leveraged now, I'm looking for coins that I can trade on Bybit or Femex. And these here don't qualify, but there's, most of you people who are new to crypto or only been doing it for a few months, you're probably trading spot, and that's fine. That's how I started. I did that for probably close to 2 years before I switched over to leverage. Let's look at Immutable X. Maybe that's probably on KuCoin. And we got, it's actually up. I forgot it's a new contract on Bybit. Good to know. Let's look at the Coinbase chart though. That is not good volume. When you see horizontal lines, that means no trades occurred in that time frame. That's not good. So let's look at something else, different chart. Well, look at the Bybit chart. Yeah, that's much better. All right. So as you saw me do on IOST, I'm going to look at the day chart to get the big picture. Most of the coins look like this, beaten down pretty bad since November, or last fall, but starting to come back. On the 1 hour, had a pretty big move on this one, 20% a few days ago, but kind of going sideways since then, trending up a little bit now on the hour chart. 5 minute trending up here. I don't see a good entry at all. This line here, this is an indicator I like to use called the Vidya.
It's ready.
And it's similar to a moving average. You'll hear a lot about moving averages when you look at charts. 50-day moving average, 100, 200. I don't care for those as much. I like the Vidya better because it incorporates some other factors as well. I'm not going to go into all that it does, but think of it as a more sophisticated moving average. And on the 5 minute chart here, it's been trending above that moving average since noon. So it might bounce off this and take off a little bit. If you want to trade it right now, you have a burning desire to do that. Almost 1% to the top of the Bollinger Band. Not really where I want to get in. I like it better down here. This short-term support right around 235. So if I'm going to set a price alert, I do it here. Something like that. On Altcoin Alert, it's anecdotal, but most of the time when those alerts go off saying that something's bullish, it tends to drop a little bit more after that. Because remember, these are coins that have been beaten down, but the software thinks are going to return. So that's why I like to get some of these better entries or these lower entries. Plus, if you set a limit order, you get the fees are less than just jumping in right away with a market order. So that's another plus. See a little bit of support here at 248, a little bit more here around 244. So these are other possibilities. I think they're more risky than my my dip trade kind of entry here. This isn't a great example of a dip trade, but we got a squeeze and it bubbles out. Got a one, a long one, 2, 3. And you get in here on this candle. And so, you know, to the Bollinger Band or to the SMA lines, about 1.5%, you know, about 3.5% to the top of the Bollinger Band. And this resistance here is about 3%. So these are all potential exit points if you bought this dip sequence here. Of course, that's unavailable to us now, but that's just an example of most of you are on this. You've seen the 1, 2, 3 dip training, and you know this is one of those types of trades. Okay, any questions on IMX? All right, let's do one more. SLP, I traded today, had a pretty good result with it. It's bullish on the long-term sentiment, bullish on the Elder Impulse, but it's already up 18, nearly 20% today. Might be too late for that one. Maybe it's already played out. So I'm gonna look around for a little bit more. Cody, Holochain, RLC, Crypto.com. These are all coins I've traded before. KDA, I had an alert for today. Didn't go off when I could trade something. But let's look at that one. It's on KuCoin. Okay, day chart. Since the end of the year, got down to 70%, but coming back. On the hour, last day of the year, took a drop. It's been moving up since then, dipping a little bit today, kind of sideways-ish. The 5-minute. Yeah, hanging around the SMA line, just trended above it. Pretty similar to the last one we saw. There's some support down here around $7.05. That's held a couple times. So $7 would be a good entry on this, I think, in the short term. Some more support. You know, if you're impatient, you want to get in sooner than that. There's some support here right around 7:30. That would be a good entry. And you've got your other alerts. Yeah, these some of these divergence alerts look pretty good. I mean, this one here was bullish. You know, almost a 4% move. That one wasn't useful. Actually, nor was that. This one's good. Probably get in here. You know, up 3.5 or 3.3%. That's a good day trade. So you can right click on these. Positive divergence, once per bar close. And bullish divergence, something like that. And then I showed you before the other alerts you can do on the MFI, crossing above 20, RSI crossing above 30. Okay, any questions on Cadena before we move to iCoinPro? Alrighty then, let's go to iCoinPro. And we talked earlier about the 3 or 4 coins tracking during the day. That's something I learned from iCoinPro, the buddy coin principle. You go through your information sources like this, RSI Spy, Buddy Coin Crawler. This one will show you the coins that are moving. I'm sorting by the average low to SMA line, so it's 24-hour low to the SMA line, that middle line between the Bollinger Bands you see on my charts. Looking for 5% or more, and waves has been moving both directions lately. Traded this a couple times today. And we got this handy drop-down menu, trading view. It'll open up the chart. So on the day chart, I think we're at an all-time high. Yeah. Now I don't know if I heard this in a group or on the Slack group, but Waves allegedly took out a big loan and bought a bunch of their own tokens to drive the price up. I just heard that. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to be sued for slander or libel or whatever that is. But anyway, it had a big pump, no matter what the reason. From February to the end of March, over 600%, crashing hard since then. So, yeah, over 30%, 40%, in April. Get a better look at that in the hour chart. Yeah, there we go, 47%, kind of sideways last few hours. All right, so do we want to go long on this? Yeah, the charts don't usually go straight up and down, so we can get a good entry. The technicals are with us. It's usually worth our while. Looking squeezy on the 5-minute chart again, but almost 5% between the bands. It's not bad. Yeah, you can see here we had a long drawn out dip sequence. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 dipper. If you're that patient, I probably would have gotten in here. Actually here. So I would have been down, probably would have ladder bought around here. Gotten out around here. So ladder buying is when you buy an additional position when something goes against you. I've done trainings on that concept, but I think it's helpful in Altcoin Alert trades and iCoinPro trades, and that, like if you get in a dip trade too early, you get in on the 3rd dip, it goes to 4th or 5th dip, you buy again at that 4th or 5th dip, and then you can, what I like to do is have it get back to my original position. So my original position breaks even, but my 2nd or 3rd position does really well, usually like 8 to 10%. So it averages out to a 4 to 5% move, and that's a good day trade. It's a ladder buying in a nutshell. There's a little bit more to it, but that's how I like to save my trades. Works about 90% of the time. The other 10% will ruin your day. So there's that. Anyway. So on this one, where do we get in? Well, we've got a little bit of support here around 33.60. which is not a big drop from where we are now. So let's then on the, if we want to use indicators, most of these bearish or bullish alerts have not been useful. Yeah, this one not, this one not. Since the trend of this overall is negative, this might be one to better to short for those of you who trade leverage than trying to long it. But since we're looking at longs right now, we'll go ahead and finish that analysis. And then we have the MFI and the RSI alerts like I showed you before, crossing up 20, crossing up 30. Okay, any questions on waves? And this is one I've been curious about. GXS up 8.5%, really good volume on Binance. I've got a 5-minute chart here. Let's look at the big picture. Had a big pump in December, lost most of it. Coming back lately. What's going on with this thing? I wonder if there's some news item about this, because we're up, 80% in a day, and then lost about half of that. Got our news tab over here on TradingView. It's not real useful, but I still like to occasionally I'll catch something useful. There's a lot of general information here. I mean, it's supposed to be specific for this, but it usually isn't. I'm not seeing anything regarding GXS, even if most likely the news would have been, around here and a couple days ago, if there was something, but anyway.
Yeah, I wish they had a search engine on that news feature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's annoying that if they don't have anything regarding the specific project, they'll just throw in miscellaneous general stuff. So it's not just blank.
I think if you go back to the home page in the news, you can search it rather than from the chart.
But I want to search it from the chart.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
Yeah. All right, so GXS, pretty nice movement last hour. Can we find a trade on the 5-minute? This is intriguing. Got a squeeze here. It's starting to bubble out. Got, well, kind of pushing. Usually I want the first dip to be in the bubble. Got a 1 dip here and that's it. So in a really hot market, I'll look at something like this. We do have a 1 dip in the squeeze-ish area. Kind of, this is an art more than a science sometimes. One could argue this is the first dip, this is the second dip, this is the third dip, and you get in here. Do that. And then look at this as resistance. Get out maybe 8 or 9%. That's a really good day trade.
I'll say.
Yeah. But we've missed that. So if it dips again, one could argue that we're still in a dip sequence. So if it drops here and then drops down here, starts to pump here, you might want to put a price alert trying to anticipate that, say around 190. Another way to do that is I like to go to my 15-minute chart and use my RSI alerts, because I find that when if I just do a cross alert on the 15-minute chart, I can often go to the 5-minute chart and find at least a second or third dip. I can catch a dip sequence that way. But I don't want to have to wait for that and then wait for it to recover. So that's why I show you guys the crossing up. So once it's crossing up, then it's usually done its dip and it's starting to return. I think that's a better use of our time to get in at that point. Okay, any questions on GXS? All right, so that's the Buddy coin crawler. See, while we're here, we can look at the fear and greed index. Of course, I've been putting this on my emails now. You guys are seeing this. We're neutral now. That's not very useful. And then the RSI SPY is the other sort or information source I like to use. So I sort by the 1 hour RSI. I'm looking for values below 30. As I showed you on my RSI alerts, 30 is oversold generally. So when it's dipped that low and starting to come back, those can be good dip trades. Unfortunately, we can't filter out Bitcoin pairs, which I don't like to trade because then I feel like I'm trading two coins. It's hard enough to trade one. We've looked at waves. It's listed here with the 22 value, and it's even oversold on the 4 hour chart. So that's, one that may be due for a comeback, but given the information we know, maybe it's going to keep dropping. And then we don't really have any other USDT pairs. Binance has a lot of these fan tokens. I don't trade those. Yeah, so on the long side, I'm not really seeing anything useful here. But if you're a leverage trader and you want to find something to short, I use this a lot to find shorts. So like the CTX here, I'm not sure if it's on a leverage exchange. I don't think it is. This one I've traded audio, and it's overbought on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the 1 day. So yeah, I'm in a painful short on this one at the moment. But I did long it today too and make some of my money back. CLO. Yeah, there's a lot of these. When they go into the day, then they should be due to drop, but market overall is trending up. So sometimes this happens in that situation. Let's go ahead and look at audio. Day chart. So it's recovered most of what it lost. There's a crazy wick. 415. Let's start here. Down 79%, but up about half that. And in the last week or so, since the 29th, it's up 67%. If you go farther back, it's up even more. And mostly going sideways the last hour or so. It's above the SMA line. Sometimes it bounces and goes up again. That's a pretty good day trade. If the momentum still looks good, that would be a nice little scalp there, a couple percent. So that's one way to look at that. You can look at this information on the RSI SPY and say, wow, it's really pumping. Maybe I can get the last, few percent. It's a little risky, but, though I teach primarily, dip trading, catching something after it's made that move. There are a lot of traders who just trade the trend. So you can use this information for both. You can catch a trend because it's clearly pumping up, or you can wait for it to dip and do a dip trade, or you can short it, but that's kind of risky. So if we're looking at this as a short, go to our 15-minute chart, do a bearish divergence if you want to use divergence as a tool. Did have a nice divergence move here. 10%, that's a really good day trade. These got a couple little scalps, 4% is good. These are all pretty good entries here. So divergence as you know, an indicator's looking pretty good on this. Once per bar close, and there you go. And then you can do your, or you can do your MFI. It'll be, if you're doing a short, you're going to go crossing down on the 80 once per bar close. Or you can go on the RSI. So you can see here when this went above the 70, came back down, you know, made an okay move, not a great move, but that alert's going to be crossing down on the 70. Okay, any questions on audio or iCoinPro, RSI SPY, shorts, longs?
iCoinPro. I've got just a couple of general questions, only because I haven't really used it since the basic training. Is Bybit on here as an exchange?
No. No, they would be horrified to know that people use their information to trade leverage. So
I see.
they're very, very conservative. That's why I like new people to start with this.
I see.
But, you know, Binance has leverage. That's unavailable to us in the US. You got to use KYC on that one. But Coinbase Pro is on here.
Okay.
So
you could set that just for Coinbase Pro. I
yeah,
see.
which is what, you know, Justin Clark, the co-founder of iCoinPro does. He just trades on the Coinbase Pro and, you know, 3 or 4 buddy coins a day. He's got his forum here. I'm not sure can you see the forum chat box come up? All right, so this is where he does a morning a morning summary, and then talks about what his buddy coins are. You know, he used to do 4, then down to 3. And it looks like he's got 5 today. So, you know, you can be lazy and just do what he does. And if, you know, and he's in Florida, so he's going to be up before I am in Arizona and before you are in California. So, yeah, good stuff for beginners. I like it a lot, and a lot of people just trade like this. They build their balance by adding 1-2% trades, and you know, after a while your balance gets pretty big and you can make a living off of it. So I'm a little too
use the information, however, and you go for a larger percentage. Is that correct?
Yeah. I haven't talked to Justin in a while, but like I said, he wouldn't like it if he knew I was using this to trade leverage. He thinks it's too risky. So
it'll be our secret.
Yeah, it's not that secret if it's on a YouTube video, but anyway, he's a good guy, and I think this is a really good program for beginners, and I still use it. So
cool.
All right.
I should look into it again.
Yeah, it's I think it's just under $100 a month. So you know, you should be making probably daily trades to justify the expense, but you know, pretty soon you can cover that and then some. All right, any other questions on iCoinPro or Altcoin Alert or anything else we've talked about today? We're right up about 40 minutes, so this is where I usually end it unless we have anything else to go over. All right, well, thank you for joining my Zoom live. I appreciate it. Those of you watching on the recording, appreciate you too. Hope we can see you live on Friday. Those of you in Carbon, please hang around for the next Zoom I'm going to do. And then we're going to do another one after that, talking about marketing Carbon. So see you next time.